Hey Gators and sports fans, get all your Gator talk, news, analysis, and opinions on the Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning podcast. Find us on your favorite podcast platform or watch us on Facebook Live between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. every weekday. Pod Up, because we are Gator fans. So say it's great to be a Florida Gator.
Good morning and welcome to a Tuesday edition of the program. It's Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security Systems Studios. Large enough to serve you, small enough to carry. Tuesday, you know what that means. We got good old Buddy Martin from the Buddy Martin Show in just a second. Second part of today's program will be joined by Ira Kaufman. Covers the Buccaneers. You can check him out on his website, joebucksfan.com. Talk about the world champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers who cranked up their training camp. But first, let's head on down to Ocala on the Titan MRO hotline, and we're joined by Buddy Martin. Good morning, buddy. How are you?
Good morning, Sham. Doing well. Good show last night. Have you and Chris Storing on and talking about Coach Spurrier's new award. I'm ready for football, and I think we're getting close this week because it's media day. I'm not supposed to say that on Thursday, and we'll hear from Dan Mullen.
Why aren't you supposed to say that?
Because they don't want a bunch of people showing up for it who are not credentials. Not supposed to be published, not supposed to be out, whatever. But anyway.
You're breaking the rules, buddy.
I know.
You're breaking
I'm
the
kind
rules.
of rules breaker. That's what I do, right? So
that's right. Buddy, real quick, as you said, Doring and I were on your show last night. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Let everybody know about this new award that the name of it is very, I don't want to say strange. It's not strange. It's just long. It's like the first year head coach of the year award. So
it's a horrible name. Let's be honest. It's a horrible name. It's a great award. It's horrible.
Yeah, I don't know how else you name it, but it's whoever. So basically, first year coaches are the only people up for this award. The Shane Beamers of the world, Josh Heupel.
Right.
Gosh, I can't even think of who else. But
well, they're actually not first year coaches. They're first year at that school.
Right. So that's the award. But yeah, so you think they need to rename it, huh?
I'd call it the Steve Spurrier Newbie Award or something. I mean, anything like that. I'm going to tell Mike Griffith, who called me and told me about this. I think it's a wonderful idea because it fits so well. And Coach Spurrier is a worthy person to have his name on a trophy, if ever there was one. As I said to you and Chris last night on the show, I mean, the more I heard you guys talking about him, and I know him really well, as you know, and I try not to be a homer about it. My affections for Steve. The fact remains is I could easily make a case for him to be one of the top 2 or 3 coaches ever in the game. When you start thinking about what he did, when he did it, how he did it, the innovations that came along, and his conviction that we want to win now. When his former head coach introduced him in Tampa, Ray Graves, and he said, well, don't expect him to win the SEC, but it's going to be fun. And Steve said, wait, hold on. Coach, we expect to win. And you guys did, and you were one of the main reasons, which is a conversation we had last night about, I said it before, and I say it now, and I'm saying it. If I embarrass you, too bad. You deserve a lot more credit for what Florida football is today than you get, because you were there, and you and Coach Spurrier did it and got it turned. Turning that ship around was like turning around one of those, what's that canal where all those ships got hung up and couldn't turn around, whatever. It was hard to turn Florida football. And I know I've been with it a long time. So that was, I think from that standpoint, it's a great award. And it just points up, and I don't use this word ever, great, ever, hardly use it. The greatness of Steve Spurrier.
Yeah, he's it was something else. And, it's a shame that I don't think anybody, the difference between him, buddy, I mean, there's a lot of great coaches, but it's the way he did it. And, so many, he's organized in his own way. And when he drew up ball plays, most people have these fancy playbooks where, especially nowadays, they're all on your iPads. But back in those days, it was on white typing paper, handwritten, and he'd staple it together and hand it to you. That was your playbook for the week. And nobody does that. And just the way he met with his team, the time, the way he took time off. I mean, think about coaches. they grind pretty much 364 days a year. They may take one day off, it seems like. He took a lot of time off because he enjoyed it. So it's something that I wish somebody could have set in the meetings and saw how he did it and did like a documentary on it. But I guess we'll never see that. So,
well, you did sit on him, and you saw him, and what you just said is important. The fancy iPads today and the typing paper that he had stapled together. I mean, you've heard about famous singers writing songs on the back of napkins. Many big, great hit songs have been written on the back of a napkin. This is kind of what Coach, we always joke. We always used to say he drew it up in the dirt when he was playing, but there wasn't any dirt, so he couldn't draw it up in the dirt. But, I mean, Ray Graves really gave him carte blanche to make up the plays. And to this day, I will go to my grave saying that when Steve Spurrier came off the field and got his zip-on shoe to kick the field goal against Auburn, that Ray Graves told me he didn't know what he was going to do. It could have been a fake. He didn't even know what was going to happen. And so it's just an amazing story. So congratulations on Steve, Freddie Weeby, and the team. The restaurant's going to open. I heard him say the other night to Connor Shaw during the press conference that they're going to open one in Columbia, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. So this one's open next week, fittingly on the 11th of August. We know why 11 is important. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to broadcasting out of there. Hopefully Evan will let me on Fridays at noon with our report, Best Fridays in Football with Urban Byers. So anyway, yeah, kudos to you guys. It was great talking to you and Chris Doring last night about Coach Spurrier and about each other. And talk about two stories of guys who came from nowhere and to fame and fortune, you and Chris Doring.
Yeah. So, buddy, as you said, Media Day is this week. Are you going to Media Day?
Yes.
Are they going to actually have you guys or be able to talk to players, talk to the coaches, or is
that's my understanding?
Is this another
that's
Zoom
my
type
understanding.
deal?
Well, else would have us come up there? I'd do it on Zoom. Otherwise, I mean, I'm okay with Zoom. It worked for me, but you got to go up if you have a chance to actually see these guys. So I'm planning to have my team there, depending on how many they let in. I don't know if all about 4 of my people will get in or not, but we're going to go up and we're going to talk about it. What's the story you want to hear about?
Well, that's a great question. You caught me off guard. I don't really know.
Well, I think I'm going to write about Emory Jones. I think.
Well, everybody's going to talk about the quarterback. And I think the biggest thing for this year, buddy, in my opinion, there's 2 things that need to happen for Florida to have a really good year. One, Emory must complete the easy throws.
Yeah.
2, the 2 transfers at the defensive tackle position better be ready to play.
Yeah,
that was our problem.
You said that the whole time.
Well, hell, we couldn't stop anybody last year.
No, you're right.
It was because of the 2 interior guys.
You're absolutely right.
We had a few interior guys playing out of position. Zach Carter and those guys, they had to move down, but now they're back on the outside. But the 2 defensive tackles are the most important parts to the defense this year, in my opinion. And I think Emory's got a chance to have a big year running and throwing, but he has to complete the easy throws.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the 2 things. You can ask those questions on my behalf if you would like.
Okay. If I get to, I don't know.
Dan's got a question for you that you can ask. Will the running back room be as great as we think this year?
I think it will be. I think they're going to play all 5 of them. I think 2 of them are going to be playing in the slot. And the France makes a good point, much like Dan Mullen did when he was coaching with Urban. That slot back, and Percy could go line up in the backfield of the slot, back and forth. He could run a jet sweep from the running back position. He obviously can run routes from the slot. So I think they want to use 2 of those guys there. I'm anxious to see that. I'm a little tired of hearing people badmouth the offensive line. There's a couple people who all they can do is post John Hebbesy's picture and like he's a wanted man. I mean, I think they've been okay. I don't think they've been great. Yeah, we'd like to see them sign some 5-stars, but I mean, talk about poor mouthing. You can be critical of recruiting if you want to, and it's true. Florida's not getting hardly any 5-stars. A few here and there, mostly by transfer, but the result is all that matters. You'd like to be able. It's not just about recruiting.
No.
If ever there were 2 examples better of that, You and Chris Story. I mean,
Right.
you were,
buddy, when it comes to recruiting, I try to tell people, we still aren't on a level playing field with everybody else in America.
Facility.
We are not on a level playing field until those kids can walk in that facility, sit in a meeting room, take a shower, get dressed, and enjoy the amenities. We are not on the same playing field. I will argue with anybody in America because it's true. It's facts. Okay. The second thing in recruiting is, buddy, it doesn't matter if Dan Mullen walks into Buddy Martin's house, as if you're a young recruit, Kirby Smart, Dabo, Nick, whoever, Ed Ogeron, Lane Kiffin, you're still going to make up your mind where you want to go play football, right? Doesn't matter what the hell who the coach is. I mean, yeah, you're going to have a relationship. You want to play for certain coaches, play for certain universities if you grew up following them. But I don't know what people think that whether it's Hevesy, Mullen, whoever on this staff can sit in somebody's living room and try to convince them and change their mind about where they want to go to school. Can you help me understand that?
Well, you had a son that was playing there for a while. You've seen the program. You know what it is. Unfortunately, it was sort of some caveman mentality about that years ago by certain people who unfortunately didn't want to keep up with the times. And you got in a hole, and now you say, well, who needs a recording studio? Who needs a river? Who needs this? Well, if you want to get certain players, you're going to have to do that.
Well, it's not so much about a floating, lazy river or recording. I'm talking about just a damn building where you can walk into
but
it.
You're going to do it right?
Right. No, I agree. But I don't think people realize how bad our facilities have been for the last 20 years compared to everybody else.
Longer than that, Shane, because Charlie Pell told me when he took the job in Florida and he came in there and saw what they had, he almost went home.
Well, they redid a bunch of stuff to keep up with everybody else. But once people started building football-only facilities, that's where we fell way, way behind. And everybody thought it was about an indoor facility. It wasn't about the indoor, because we still have to take a damn bus when it's bad weather to the indoor, which makes absolutely no sense.
That's right. You did, didn't you?
Yeah, that's the dumbest thing ever. So now when this facility is built and there's lightning striking all over Gainesville on campus, they just walk right through two doors and they're in the building. So I've never understood where these people come up with that we are doing. I mean, it's all about rankings, but we have not been on a level playing field. And we still aren't. Let's see. Dan says, I've been to a lot of SEC campuses that had worse programs and they have better facilities. Dan, everybody in America, every SEC team, I think besides Missouri and Vanderbilt, have better facilities than we do at this point. John says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Meldon Law, when EJ went into the game and ran the ball, he was averaging 7 yards a pop. The defense knew he's going to run. The O-line will be just fine this year. With his running ability and the running backs we have, guys are going to be wide open when Dan calls pass plays, buddy. You go back to the Tebow days.
I agree with you.
And that's why I say we have to complete the easy throws, meaning when dudes are wide open, we have to complete them.
Hey, look at the wheel route. I mean, look what happened there. Simple pattern, but one of the first things you learn as a quarterback in high school, how to run a wheel route. Yeah, I agree with you, Shane. You're right. And I think you are much more knowledgeable on this than I am. But still, when you look at the nuances of the offense, I've said it before, I'll say it again, everybody knows. When you get a guy who's a dual threat back there, that causes the defense to do what? To have to make a choice. And this guy's got enough skills, and we've said this before, in both his physical ability, his strength, his speed, and a good arm to make you really not make you miss, as Coach Spurrier used to say. So this is something I want to see. How is that going to affect the running game, Shane? I mean, it's going to make the running game better, in my opinion, because you're stretching the defense and you got the ROPs. Am I right? RPOs.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Right. Yep. If you got joint pain in your knees, shoulders, hip, or back that won't go away, you need to check out QC Kinetics for long-lasting relief. No surgery, drugs, or downtime. Schedule your free consultation at QC Kinetics, 352-400 4550. Call QC Kinetics today, 352-400-4550. Speaking with Buddy Martin here on the Titan Tomorrow Hotline. We'll be joined second part of the show, talk a little Tampa Bay Buccaneers with Ira Kaufman on JoeBucksFan.com. Got a text for you here, buddy. Okay. I was going to bring this up, and I'm glad Jason sent us a text on the Titan Tomorrow text line. He says, ask Buddy about what he thinks about the kid foregoing his senior year and going to Ohio State because of the NIL. It's the dumbest damn thing I've ever heard.
Great from South Lake in Dallas.
Yeah. So here's my thoughts, and I want to get your thoughts, buddy. I said this, I guess it was yesterday's show. Maybe JC and I talked about this. First off, how many number one players in America never turn out to be even play in college? It happens all the time.
Quite a few. Yeah.
It happens all the time. Yeah. Why anyone would even give this kid any money and how he thinks he's going to get any money just blows my mind. It blows my mind. And I would like for someone, because I'm sure some of our listeners here that are out in that Texas area, tell me if that kid has signed any kind of deals with anybody, because I don't believe it. I don't believe it one bit. Your thoughts on it, buddy?
Well, all right. Look, first of all, I hate it. But it is a product of the system, and you knew it was going to happen, and you knew this was going to reach down. This whole name, image, likeness thing was going to reach down the tentacles of it to high school, and that's what's happening. You're getting kids right now going to school early based on what? Money. I don't blame them for the money.
But how do we know he's getting paid money? Maybe the kid just – I don't understand why anybody would give up their senior year of high school football, because you'll never get it back.
Of course, but you're a traditionalist in that regard, and I'm not. Let me just say one thing, one name. Well, two names. Remember when a guy named Jimmy Carter ran for governor, for president?
Well, yeah,
but nobody ever heard of him. Really. Well, but you knew what he was, kind of a nobody. Came out of nowhere and became president. And I said, this is the worst thing that ever happened, because everybody in America thinks they can be president. I'm gonna give you another name, LeBron James.
Well, look,
how old was? Let me finish. That's all. Okay. You can argue with it. I'm not saying this right.
I'm not arguing.
Well, I mean, you have to say a lot of people think they're the next LeBron James. And so I don't know this kid. I don't know the situation. I know what I think about it. I hate it.
Well, you bring up LeBron. That's a great person to bring up. But, dude, he's on a freaking another planet when he came out of high school.
I said LeBron James. Yeah.
Yeah. So if he was coming out now, I mean, he went straight to the pros, so he got paid.
That's my point. This
kid may never take a snap at Ohio State. That's my point. Mm-hmm. And John says, I don't know how to pronounce this guy's last name. It's Ewers. Ewers. Cites it was for NIL reasons. If you are number 4 on the depth chart, who is going to get a 4-string quarterback in NIL? My point. I mean, there's a million starting quarterbacks in the SEC and around the country that aren't getting any deals. And for this kid to think he's going to get some is crazy as hell to me. So it's a shame. He's going to do what he wants to do, but heck, we may never hear from him again. And he may turn out to be the greatest player and win the Heisman Trophy. Who knows? But if he does win the Heisman Trophy, then you give him money. Speaking of quarterbacks, did you see where Miles Brennan, the quarterback that was slated to be the starter, broke his arm, and I think he's out for the year?
Terrible thing happened. Young man has put a lot of work in. I quite frankly think Florida, I think LSU found their quarterback last year in the swamp, though. And I think that he might not have started, but he's a heck of a player. And look, it happens. These things are going to change the way you look at college football.
Here's what I want to know, and I haven't heard it. I read a little bit about it on Twitter. How your quarterback breaks his arm is what I want to know. He shouldn't be touched.
Scrimmage.
The only thing I can think of is if he tripped and fell and braced himself to catch
break your arm, would it? Yeah, I'm with you on that. It wouldn't have been Coach Spurrier's quarterback. You know that.
Well, couldn't be any human being that understands the game of football does not let their quarterback get hit in practice.
Yeah.
So I'm anxious to see or hear how it happened. I'm guessing he was running outside the pocket, tripped, whatever, went to brace himself and broke his arm. That's what I'm guessing, but
it doesn't say in the story. You don't know. I mean, were they able to say inadvertent or something? But they didn't say how. At least I haven't read it so far. Maybe somebody else has. Somebody like Dan. Dan reads everything.
Brian's got a Facebook Live here for us, buddy. He says, "Good morning, guys. I want to throw out there, I love the current players and new recruits getting involved in recruiting. Feels like the team bonds are strong and getting stronger." I don't follow recruiting really. I think if you follow Twitter, you see a lot of schools. I think kids are now getting more involved in recruiting. It's crazy with all this social media. But
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna plug this right now, real quick, and somebody you ought to say. Jason Higdon is one of the best, in my opinion. He's an expert. First in Florida, been around a long time. Well, he's a friend of Fran's Beard. We're gonna start having Jason on the show occasionally, and he'll probably write a column for Gatorbait. So look, you got to give into it. I mean, it's what it is. You and I don't follow it, but a lot of people do who watch your show. So I got to be coached up. I don't follow it unless they're local kids. I follow them then. But hey, it's a crapshoot. And I'm with you. That Florida, you don't know who Florida really wants. You say, oh, they missed that 4 and that 5. Maybe, as you point out all the time, Shane, maybe they didn't want them.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, we don't know what Dan Mullen and his staff care about or who they're recruiting. Yeah. They may not like somebody that somebody else likes. You can only sign 25. You know what I mean? You can only sign 25.
Only play 11 too, by the way.
Yeah, but Jason Higdon does a tremendous job of recruiting. All right, buddy, real quick. There's rumors out there with the realignment of the SEC, 9 SEC games. You like it?
I love it. And I talked to John Adams on the show last night. We played part of that interview. We'll play it more tomorrow. But to me, keep it pure. Here's why. 9 games gives you, if you play 12, you have plenty of room to play 2 rivals or say a Florida State, whatever, and then an intersectional game. Now, if you want to play a cream puff, powder puff, whatever game, that's up to you. I hate that. But I think it's great because here's why. Nick Saban's been saying this for a long time, 9 games. What it does is it keeps your schedule pure. Why would you want to invite somebody else to the table and let them get all that exposure? When you can play in-house, you're against your own teams in the conference and get tremendous ratings and get all the eyeballs, in my opinion. The more your games you play, and I think 9 should be a minimum, I think it makes a big difference. It also gives you a great schedule and a lot of eyeballs. You could own the eyeballs.
Yeah, I agree.
Can I say one thing real quick? You know where Caleb Dressel, I know you don't watch the Olympics, but
no, I do. I know all about Caleb Dressel. I was going to bring that up, buddy. You know, you're claiming Louis Oosthuizen as your neighbor. Are you claiming Caleb Dressel as your neighbor as well?
Well, he has home in McIntosh, apparently. Do you know that? He does.
I did know that. Yeah.
And I just read a tweet about him. Some guy made a joke out of it. He lives out in the sticks in McIntosh. Let me tell you something. McIntosh is a pretty cool little town. It has a great history to it. I don't know where he lives, but I think it's really cool that he would choose McIntosh. And by the way, please, NBC, don't take a footage of him in Dunellen in the Withlacoochee River, putting in his boat and going on an airboat ride and say he's going to the swamp. The swamp isn't here. The swamp's in either the Okefenokee North or down in Okeechobee. All right? So get your geography. Ain't no swamp down there.
This was NBC, right?
NBC, yes.
Yeah, NBC's had a nightmare with the Olympics. Turn your car or truck into a rolling billboard for your business or brand with an eye-catching vehicle wrap from Wrap Spot. This August, mention promo code Shane or see 13% off your vehicle wraps. A few more minutes with Buddy Martin. Buddy, you got a new feature coming up called This, That, and the Other?
What does that sound familiar? Who said that? This and that. Did he say this and that or this, that, and the other? Which one?
No, this, that, and the other, and so forth.
This, that, and the other. Yeah, that's what we'll call it. And it's just a little light something we can do.
But you got to add in so forth in there too.
Okay, we can do that.
This, that, and the other, and so forth.
Okay, so forth. All right, I'll try to remember. You be the coach on that, will you? But I think here's a couple of things. You know how much Nick Saban makes in his last year of his contract? Finally, here, take a shot.
About 11
Alabama, 11.1, not too shabby. I wanted to say I've got a great name for us for a name image like this. If you like a name, place in the wrong position. This guy that Florida signed, who's a punter, he's number 3 kicker. I'm sorry, kicker. I got him mixed up. Kicker. His name is Trey Smack. Think if he was a linebacker, Trey Smack.
He's playing.
That'd be a great name. I'd sign him in a heartbeat just for his name. And by the way, just so you know, Caleb Dressel, how great is he? University of Florida led every state in the union with gold medals, 13. 5 of them came from one guy, the great Caleb Dressel.
Speaking of that, buddy, I had Scott Carter on from FloridaGators.com yesterday, and I was asking him, and I told him I told him probably be a good piece for him to write. Maybe you want to write it.
Okay.
Who is the most decorated Florida swimmer of all time? Is it Dressel, Lochte, Dara Torres, Tracy Calkins?
Those are great ones. I don't know. I have to ask Scott. I may have him later.
Well, Scott didn't know either. So, I gave both of you a homework assignment, and whoever can write the article first wins.
So strict.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know who the most decorated.
I don't know. It's a great question. I'm not a swimming reporter, and neither are you. We'll have to ask somebody would know. Why don't you have someone from a swim team on, coach or something?
I've had a couple swimmers. I've had Anthony Nesty, the coach out there. I guess I could ask him. I'll have him on when he gets back.
How about getting somebody on? You got all the pull up there in Gainesville. Get a swimming coach on. How about getting Caleb Dressel's agent or somebody?
Yeah, that'll be a good one. That'd be kind of difficult.
Oh, boy, sure. You know what? He's a great-looking kid, and I love the fact he's a Florida guy. He said, I was born and raised, and I'll die here. And he's a good-looking guy. This guy's going to make a huge amount of money. But you know what? In the end, he said he was so exhausted and tired, it was having no fun. It was just stressful. And I imagine it was. Listen, he came through like, the first famous guy from around here was named Don Schillander, who won a couple of gold medals. He wasn't even from here, but his aunt and uncle live in Ocala. He trained here. But we've had some really good ones over the years, and Caleb Dressel's fantastic. I love his attitude. He's a good-looking guy. I don't even like tattoos, but he's got a cool one. Have you seen it?
You need to get one of those.
Yeah. What do you want me to? Why wouldn't your tattoo say, Shane?
I'm not.
Well, what would you say if you lost a bet, you had to have a tattoo? What would you get? What would yours say?
I'd have to think about that one. Gosh.
I know what I'd say. Say what your shirt says. Fun and gun. Probably.
Fun and gun. Put the years on there. Yeah.
No, yours. But yours would be fun and gun. Mine would be just scribe or something. I don't know.
Yeah. So, buddy, I don't know. I haven't heard this, and I had somebody ask me the other day before we let you go. Are they having fan day like they normally do this year?
I don't know. Maybe not because of COVID. I don't know. I'll ask that question.
Well, I don't know if it had anything to do with COVID. I'm thinking from the standpoint of, are these guys going to sign autographs for free?
Oh, that's a good point.
That's where I was going with it, and I wasn't sure.
Well, my old friend Hiram DeFries, who was around there a long time with Urban, used to always say to the players, when they did something for the fans, you're putting money in the bank. Money in the bank. Remember that. If you want to do well, do what the great ones do, like Phil Mickelson signs every autograph. So, yeah, you've got to put something back, right?
Yeah.
You signed a bunch of autographs, didn't you?
Yeah, I signed quite a few in my time, no question. But before we let you go, I want to get to this day in sports. I want to see if you remember this. It's brought to you by our good friends at Comfort Temp. Comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. Comfort Temp's now hiring team members with all levels of experience. $1,000 signing bonus for qualified positions. Give Comfort Temp a call, 352-376-2366. In 1960, buddy, the Pittsburgh Steelers beat the Toronto Argonauts of the Canadian Football League 43-16 in an exhibition game up in Toronto. I didn't realize that the NFL teams played against the CFL teams. Do you remember them doing that? And what rules did they play by?
That's a good question. I don't remember that game. I really don't remember it. I remember the All-Star game, then play against the All-Stars and all that. They used to have a game every year where you took the college All-Stars against the defending NFL champions.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Well, it was always they beat them one time. Bradshaw played against them, I think. So, yeah, I never knew about that, Shane. I did not. No.
Huh. Yeah.
You know what this means right here? You know what this means?
Sports talk.
Yeah. See the year on it?
Nah, I can't see that. That's why I got glasses and they still ain't working.
That was our station. We started Sports Talk in 1996. That was a good year, wasn't it? 1996?
1996 was a good year.
That's the last one of these I got. So, all you folks out there. Well, Shane, all right. I appreciate it. Is my time up now? You want to kick me off or what?
Yep. We're going to kick you off. And who do you have on the show tonight? You still have the girls on there?
It's double coverage, which is Jackie.
I told you got to change that to double trouble.
That is true. I'll tell them again tonight, Jackie and Cassie, by the way, who know their football. Just so you know, the guys who watch the show are loving it because I hate to sound sexist, but two women talking football in a smart way is something that you don't hear everywhere. These two are really good, and the show is good. And I sit back and listen to them and help produce the show. So don't forget double coverage tonight, 9 o'clock on the Buddy Barton Show. Double coverage, double trouble, whatever you want to call
it. Good stuff, buddy. We'll see you next week. Have a good weekend, my man.
All right, Shane. Thank you, man.
It's Buddy Martin. You can follow him on Twitter at the Buddy Martin Show on the Buddy Show on Twitter. We're going to take our first time out of the program. When we come back, we'll be joined by Ira Kaufman talking Tampa Bay Buccaneers football. You're watching and listening to Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our gridiron sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, won't back down. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, non-surgical regeneration, live pain-free. South State Bank, Celebration Point Town Center, Chris Doring Mortgage. Some of our touchdown sponsors are Big Mills Cheesesteaks, MB Listing, Cornerstone Financial, McDonald's of Gainesville, My IT Masters, Gainesville Neon and Signs, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, Chick-fil-A on Archer Road, Avra and Smith, Dowling Signs, Chomp Carter Apparel, Ruse Ogra Agent, State Farm Insurance, Silver Cube Billiards and Sports Bar. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit potupwithshane.com and click the Advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure to follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Celebration Points where the Gators go to celebrate with premium brands like Regal Cinemas, Bass Pro Shop, Nike, Le Macaron French Pastries, Palmetto Moon, and coming August the 11th, the HBC's new restaurant Spurs, Gridiron Grill, and Visors Tailgate and Rooftop Bar. We'll see you at Celebration Point where the Gators go to celebrate. We're now going to go back to the Titan MR hotline. We're going to be joined by Ira Kaufman, talking a little Tampa Bay Buccaneers football. Good morning, Ira. How are you?
I'm doing well. Welcome to Titletown, Mr. Matthews. Welcome to Titletown.
That's right. What is it, Tampa Bay or what have you? Well, let's. The Bucs have opened up training camp, and obviously they're the defending Super Bowl champs. But gosh, they have every. Correct me if I'm wrong. Every starter back.
All 22, my friend. All 22.
Yeah,
that's happen.
Crazy.
Yeah,
I don't think I've ever heard of that.
Shane, I got to tell you, 9 days into camp, and they're indoors today. They were indoors yesterday because of the rain. The one word, Shane, that sums up the Buck 2021 training camp, and it's a beautiful word for Buck fans: uneventful. Uneventful. I mean, it's incredible. Carson Wentz goes down, different guys go down, and all of a sudden, Cam Akers, and the Rams were, counting on Cam Akers. He came on strong last year, and they're a contender. They're a contender to the Bucs, and so they suffer a blow. And Shane, the Bucs keep rolling on. Very, very little competition, real competition, maybe at the running back spot. But Shane, if I tell you Antonio Brown is the number 3 receiver on the depth chart, that kind of tells you all you need to know.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, they are loaded. They got old guys. They got young guys. I guess, let's jump right into it right now. We all know Tom Brady. I think he wants to play 2 more years. Does he? I mean, he doesn't really need to practice, but he's the kind of guy that wants to practice a lot. Does he take a bunch of reps in training camp, or does Arians in? Because heck, you never know how an injury could happen. I know he's untouchable, but I just heard where the LSU quarterback broke his arm. They haven't said how he broke his arm, but he could have tripped and just braced himself. So how much work does Brady do at training camp?
Brady does as much work, Mr. Matthews, as Brady wants. And that's the way it is now. Shane, today's his birthday, 44th birthday today.
Wow.
And he's out there. He's looked very sharp, Shane, very sharp. Mike Evans, I think, has been the best Buccaneer from what I've seen in camp. And he doesn't have anything to prove. And Devin White's been fantastic on defense. But Brady's Brady, Shane. And here's the reason that I don't want to give Brady too many days off in camp is that I think if Arians is as smart as you and I think he is, he's my coach on the field. And by that, I mean, Shane, if he sees anything that looks like complacency, laziness, Brady is all over it. And when Brady says something to the offensive lineman, that means more than the offensive line coach or Arians. And you know that. Peer pressure is the key. And nobody does it better than Brady. Shane, he watches everything. He sees everything. He's on the details. And that's why I think the Bucs have a real chance of being the first team to repeat since a New England team that happened to have Brady under center. That ain't no coincidence, Shane. No coincidence.
No, not at all. So let's stay with the quarterback position. Obviously, a lot of Gators watch my podcast. They were happy to see Kyle Trask come down there. Do you think Trask will be the number 2 or the 3rd guy on the roster when the season kicks off?
I think he'll clearly be number 3 because, Arians has this thing with Blaine Gabbert, Shane. It's just there. You don't have to explain it. It's a little bit of loyalty. He knows Arians' playbook. He knows what the Bucs want to do, and Trask doesn't. I've watched Trask a lot, Shane, in the past 9 or 10 days, and he looks like a second-round pick. That's what he looks like. He'll make some nice throws, and then he'll struggle. I don't think he'll throw a pass for the 2021 Bucs that count. You'll see him in the preseason, and he'll play extensively, I think, in the 3 games. But you won't see him during the regular season. Gabbert is secure in that spot. The Bucs brought him back for a reason, but they're not going to expose Trask, I don't think, on a practice squad where he can get picked off. That's not a good look for a second-round pick, Shane.
Yeah. So you said there was some competition at the running back position. Let us know who those guys are competing for that starting job.
Well, the great news for Buck fans, Shane, is that they got 2 legit guys. I mean, Ronald Jones was a bust as a rookie. I mean, he was bad. He averaged less than 2 yards a carry. Second-round pick out of Southern Cal. Well, he got better in 2019, and last year he averaged 5.1 yards a carry. That's a big number, Shane, big number. He was the guy until he got a little hurt at the end of the year, and then Leonard Fournette came in, and you know Leonard Fournette well from the Jacksonville days. First-round pick out of LSU, big, fast, and he was great in the postseason. He was great. So he was so good that now they're kind of on even footing. Who's going to win the job? Now, Shane, I'll say this. As we speak, Fournette is unvaccinated and says he's not sure. He hasn't made up his mind yet. Jones is vaccinated. Shane, you know as well as I do. If this battle's even and one guy's got the vaccine, that guy's going to get the job and the bulk of the carries. I'm not telling Fournette what to do, but from a professional standpoint, he's at a disadvantage right now.
Wow, that's interesting. Chris Doring Mortgage, they do mortgage lending right, helping home buyers throughout Gainesville and North Central Florida. Call Chris Doring Mortgage today at 352-244-0840. Speaking with Ira Kaufman here on the Titan Memorial Hotline. You can check him out on joebucksfan.com. All right, I want to ask you this. I don't know. I personally, and Brady's may have said something about this, but I feel like this is last year's team and this year's team's the most talented skill guys that he ever had, more than what he had in New England. Has he ever talked about that? Do you agree with that statement?
I think it was a big reason why he signed with the Bucs and did so very quickly when free agency started in March of 2020, Shane. And they didn't have Antonio Brown at that time. And they didn't have necessarily Gronkowski at that time, although Brady had a good idea he was coming. They are so deep in targets, Shane. They are so deep. They got this little guy, Scotty Miller. He made some big plays in the postseason. He might be the fastest guy on the team. He's the number 4 receiver. They got a kid, Tyler Johnson, they drafted last year. He looks pretty good. Then you look at tight ends, you got Gronkowski, O.J. Howard. Let's see what he's got. Shane, he's from Alabama, first-round pick. You know him. He had some big days for Saban. But, Shane, he can't stay healthy. Can't stay on the field, and this is his contract year. Let's see what he's got. But Brady has all kinds of weapons. And, Shane, they added a running back. It's the one big addition they made. They kind of stood pat. But they got this Giovanni Bernard. He's a running back from the Bengals. What does he do, Shane? You know what he does? He catches third down passes and keeps the chains moving. That's what he does. He's not going to get 10 carries, but he might get 5 catches. And Brady loved that, having that guy in Foxborough. He loved it, and he had a bunch of them. Kevin Falk, James White. He's had all kinds of third down safety valves, and now he's got one in Bernard. Shane, this offense could be even better than last year. That's pretty darn scary.
Yeah, Bernard out of North Carolina, he was a good little back for the Bengals. We got a Facebook Live brought to you by Metal Law. John says the video that Brady put out where he was throwing the ball into the jugs machine was clearly edited. He may do that once, but not 3 times. He ain't doing that once, John. It's impossible to throw that ball into the jugs machine. Do you know the video he's talking about, Ira?
I do. I absolutely do. And you are correct, Mr. Matthews. You are correct.
Yeah, there's no way in hell you can do that one time.
He was having a little fun with us, Shane. A little fun.
Yeah. You know, it's kind of good to see, you know, as great as Tom Brady has been throughout his career. And I don't know if it's because the way the New England way or how you had to act up there, but he's loosened up a lot since he's been a Buccaneer. Would you agree with that?
I think you're absolutely right about that. He's showing another side of himself. Remember when he was drunk in the boat parade? And fans loved him. And Bruce Arians told me one day that was the day that he really became a Buccaneer and a part of Tampa Bay. Now, Shane, you know this area. You know the Bay Area. It's a blue-collar area. And here's my example. The most popular Buck, and they've been playing since 1976, and I don't think it's close, Shane. The most popular Buccaneer is Mike Allstott. Mike Allstott is the number 1 Buck for Buck fans. Why? Blue collar, he'll run you over, tough, physical. We love that down here. And Brady getting a little tipsy, that won a few more fans over, Shane.
Yeah, no question. Let's switch over to the defense before we let you go, Ira. I thought in the playoffs, I thought the defense carried the Buccaneers. Their performance against the Kansas City Chiefs was outstanding. As you said, they got all the starters back. They got those young linebackers that can run. Is there anybody that Buccaneer fans should keep an eye on, some guys that we may not know that could contribute to the defensive side of the ball this year?
I think the one guy, Shane, that they're looking for an immediate contribution is the first-round pick, Joe Tryon. Now, he's an edge rusher, but he didn't play last year, Shane. He opted out for COVID. He did not play in 2020, so he's 2 years removed from competition. He's had his ups and downs in camp. He looks good as a pass rusher, and Arians praised him to the sky 3 days ago, and then Shane, he comes back the next day and says, you better stay in your lanes, Tryon. You let up some big runs because you jumped a few gaps, and that's what rookies do. You know, he's trying to flash. But like you said, you know, any team with JPP and Shaq Barrett on the edges, you might get 10 snaps a game, and that's what they're looking for. Give these guys a little bit of a breather. They'll contribute on special teams, but they're loaded. They're stacked, Shane. And Todd Bowles now knows what these guys can do. I think this defense is going to be the story. They're going to create a lot of havoc out there.
So the gentleman that you just mentioned that opted out last year, did he get a Super Bowl ring?
No, he opted out of college. He opted out of college.
Opted out of college. Okay, I got you. Because you said that's right.
So he's the first-round pick, yeah.
Gotcha. Tim says he thinks the most popular Buccaneer is Derek Brooks.
I think he's the best Buccaneer, maybe with Leroy Selman. But in popularity, I'm going with Allstott, Shane. Mike Allstott.
Okay, back to the offense. I'm just curious about the relationship between Brady and Byron Leftwich. For a guy who played a lot in the NFL, do you think Brady? It seemed like to me watching their season last year, early in the year, Brady did not look comfortable at all. And I don't remember what week it was. Do you think Brady finally sat down with Leftwich and Bruce Arians and said, "Look, I've been in this league a long time. We need to do what I do well and call it how I need to call it." Do you think they had any kind of discussions like that?
I think you got a good read on that, Shane. Look, they were 7-5 going to the bye week. Forget about Super Bowl. The playoffs were in jeopardy at that point. Minnesota was crawling down their neck, and I think they were playing the Vikings the first game out of the bye. And yes, I do think that conversation happened. Shane, it's been a big object of conjecture down here. Who's running this offense between Leftwich, Arians, and Brady? Ultimately, Shane, you got to do what Brady's comfortable with. You do.
Absolutely.
Because there's nobody like him, Shane. There's nobody like him. Even Phillip Rivers, if he would have signed here, he wouldn't have had that kind of power. And he didn't deserve it. But Brady had 6 rings before he got here. So what are you going to do? Impose your offense on Tom Brady? They tweaked it. A lot of people didn't think Leftwich was really the guy with the playbook. I've come to the conclusion that he is, Shane. I think it's now between Leftwich and Brady. They have a comfort level. Arians is involved, but Arians wants Leftwich to do well. And it's a big point of emphasis, Shane. Arians wants Leftwich to get a shot at being a head coach in this league. He just does. And Bowles, but even more Leftwich because he's never had that chance. Mm-hmm. And I think he's given Leftwich a lot of responsibility, and him and Brady now have a very solid relationship.
Well, we got another text here on the Titan Mark text line from Phil. He says, Steve Spurrier is our favorite Buccaneer.
You asked Steve about that rookie 76 season. Shane, he took one heck of a beating for a terrible Buck team.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Before we let you go, your thoughts on that big-ass Super Bowl ring. That's the biggest ring I've ever seen.
First day of training camp, Shane, the COO of the team was flashing it. He had it. And not a lot of guys wear it. Arians isn't wearing it. They got it in a safe place. But he had it, Brian Ford. And he was showing different people. I made sure I got a chance. Shane, I tried to get into the ring ceremony. I tried like heck. Hey, you need a writer there to chronicle what's going on? No. You're out, Ira. Not a chance. It's a private thing. What a ring, Shane. You ain't never seen anything like it. I think it weighs about 6 pounds. The top swivels off, and it is one of a kind. When you take the top off, it's got the symbol of the stadium with different numbers involved, and it's something they'll never forget. And Shane, I'll say this: I don't want to speak for you. I wouldn't be shocked if they did it again, Shane. Wouldn't be shocked.
Well, with 22 starters back, with that guy at quarterback, if everyone can stay somewhat healthy, they do have a shot. I was going to ask you before we let you go. You mentioned the Rams lost Cam Akers. I think they're going to be a lot better with Stafford at quarterback. But who is the one big threat in the NFC you think to the Bucs?
Well, they're falling by the wayside, some of them. New Orleans, Michael Thomas, hurt again. He's their big receiver. They don't have anybody behind him. If Winston wins the job, I'm not sure he's got anybody to throw to in New Orleans. And that's a concern. So I think the Bucs win the NFC South. I don't see any reason they won't, barring injury. And the Saints have won it 4 years in a row. But I think that time's passed, Shane. So Bucs win the division. Nobody in the NFC East is a threat. Washington, Dallas, the Giants, no. Green Bay, Shane, I know Aaron Rodgers is back, but that's a bad situation. It's a bad situation. They're not going anywhere. They'll win the division, but they're not going anywhere. So I'm kind of with you on the Rams and Seattle. Seattle's good if they make a few tweaks and keep Russell Wilson happy. He's so good, Shane. He is so good. He can lead them a long way almost by himself.
Yeah, I agree. Before we let you go, let everybody know how they can check out JoeBucksFan.com.
You can read my columns, joebucksfan.com. I got 2 podcasts a week, Shane. It's the #1 Buck podcast in the nation in terms of popularity, and on Twitter at @iKaufman76, Shane.
Good stuff as always. I know it's exciting times down there in Tampa with all the championships, and we'll see what the Rays can do as the season winds down in Major League Baseball. But we'll have to get you back on when the season cranks up. I appreciate it, my man.
Shane, come on down. I'll get you a look at that ring, baby. You can look at it up close and personal.
All right. Appreciate it. That's Ira Kaufman. Join us on the Titan Tomorrow Hotline. We're going to take our second time out of the program, come back and wrap up this Tuesday edition.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our gridiron sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, won't back down. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, non-surgical regeneration, live pain-free. South State Bank, Celebration Point Town Center, Chris Doring Mortgage. Some of our touchdown sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Adams Rib Company, Doreen Wiebe Realtor Caldwell Banker, MM Parish, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Wrap Spot, Okido America, Gators Dockside, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Meadowbrook Golf Course, Silverback Concrete Company. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit potupwithshane.com and click the advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure to follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Center State Bank is now South State Bank, but we still put business first. We understand that small businesses need a community business partner that they can rely on. South State still has 4 convenient Alachua County locations. South State Bank, banking for member FDIC. I want to thank Buddy Martin from the Buddy Martin Show and our man Ira Kaufman from JoeBucksFan.com, talking a little Kyle Trask and the Tampa Bay Bucks. I figured Trask would be the third guy this year, no matter what. We got a Facebook Live here brought to you by Meldon Law, the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. Tim says, can we get reservations at Spurrier's for September? I believe you can go on the website and do reservations that way or just give them a call. Yeah, I would suggest if you're going to be in town, I hate for you to, where you're coming from, not to be able to experience it. So I would call in advance, maybe call today or go on the website, book it. All right. My great producer just said, go to the website, click on reservations, and you can fill out the information there. So, yeah, it's a tremendous museum, tremendous food, great atmosphere, something that we needed in Gainesville. And I think people are going to really, really enjoy it. Man, Ira got me excited a little bit about the NFL, talking about it. It's amazing that the Buccaneers have 22 starters coming back. I don't know if that's ever happened in the National Football League with free agency and stuff. So many guys want the money and go places, but people want to play with Tom Brady and have an opportunity to go back-to-back, and I think this will allow them to have a chance. Dan says on Facebook Live, the web would not allow reservations during Bama weekend. So maybe there's they put a halt on the Bama weekend. You know that's going to be a madhouse when the Crimson Tide roll in here to get a place at Spurrier. So maybe they'll open up for extra hours during that weekend. We'll see. John says, can't wait to get a little taste of NFL Thursday night. Yep. What is today? Today's Tuesday. 2 more days. We got a little bit of NFL football. Hard to believe. Gators crank up Friday. And it's here, folks. Football season is here. So I hope you enjoyed today's program. Again, I want to thank Buddy Martin and Ira Kaufman. Be safe out there, folks. Today's show's a wrap, brought to you by Wrap Spot.